Hello, everybody. Um, this is the staff assessment for ARIN 2019-20 harmonization of maximum allocation requirements under section 418 ARIN waitlist and 422 initial allocation to ISPs. Yes, that is a mouthful. Next slide, please. Advisory Council Shepherds are myself and Andrew Dahl. This was originally proposed in October of 2019, promoted to draft policy in December, and then again to recommended draft policy in February after PPML discussion. This has not yet been presented at the ARIN meeting. This is the first time being presented. As well, but it is a recommended draft. So the latest version was, latest revision of this was in December of last year. Next slide, please. The summary of the staff understanding is that we are changing the initial allocation allowance from a 22 from a 21, and this is to harmonize the language with section 418 that shows a /22 as the maximum allocation that can be received from the wait list. Next slide. Okay, staff comments. ARIN staff understands the purpose of the policy, as previously mentioned, which eliminates the contradiction. And this will effectively make the largest allocation that ARIN is authorized to distribute to a /22. Staff welcomes this clarification and will continue to allow up to a 22 as the maximum allocation distributed per policy. Next slide. There are no material legal issues and resource impact is minimal. Training, updated guidelines, and documentation. And on to the AC presentation. I will not reread the title of the proposal. The goal of this policy is to correct a discrepancy that's identified. Now, this discrepancy came in as a result of the 418 modifications that were made last year during the larger waitlist cleanup. During that update, two things happened. First off, the maximum allocation from the 418 waitlist was changed to a 22, where previously there had been no maximum allocation there. The other major change, and forgive me for not recalling exactly which section this was made in, but there was also a reference saying that all IPv4 allocations from here forward would be via the waitlist. So given that the reference in 422 to initial allocations of a 21, created a conflict and required clarification. Next slide, please. So here is the current language of 422. All ISP organizations without direct assignments or allocations from ARIN qualify for initial allocation up to a /21, subject to ARIN's minimum allocation size. Next slide, please. Very subtle update. All organizations without a direct assignments to allocations from ARIN qualify for initial allocation of up to a 22, subject to ARIN's minimum allocation size. So literally, this is a one character change to the NERPM. Next slide, please. PPML feedback has been positive. I don't believe there were any dissenting opinions on this on PPML. The community sees this largely as a no-op, given the fact that all current allocations are via 418. No concerns raised about negative impact from community members, and as we've seen before, the staff and legal review came back with no issues. Next, please. So questions to ponder as we discuss this. First off, it's obvious that we now have language in the NERPM that says that all future V4 allocations will be via the wait list. If that is the case, is Section 422 still relevant? And if not, would the community support a proposal, a future proposal to simply retire the section entirely, as opposed to correcting it? Those are some points to ponder as we discuss this. Next slide, please, which I believe is simply
the questions.
Thank you, questions slide.
Thank you, Chris. So the queues are now open. And just as a small point of note, please feel free to use the Q&A anytime during the presentation. You do not need to wait until I open. We just will simply address them as they come. So any feedback on this proposal? Either raise your hand or... We have a raised hand, I believe.
We have a couple of raised hands.
So I see a Steve Ryan has raised his hand. So Steve, can we go to Steve Ryan initially, please?
Oh, he lowered his hand.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Just we always give, for those that don't know, Steve Ryan is our general counsel. So when he raises his hand, I just have to make sure that there's not a burning issue that he needs to bring to my or your attention. So let's go to the other speaker.
Okay. Kevin Bloomberg, I'm giving you permission to talk.
Good afternoon, it's Kevin Bloomberg from The Wiring. Just a clarification, the 22 maximum allocation size for an initial ISP request is not the limit in the NRPM for an organization looking to request space through the transfer market. There are other policies that would allow for a larger allocation size. I just wanted to clarify that from the AC.
Okay. Yes, that is understood. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you, Kevin. Does
Well,
that address
it
your
was a
issue?
question. It wasn't a.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yes, the answer to that question is yes. This only is relevant for allocations made from ARIN's free pool, which in this case means the waiting list.
Thank you. So I would support this as written.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay, let's go to our Q&A.
Okay. I have David Farmer from University of Minnesota, support as written.
Okay, thank you, David.
And I have Owen DeLong from Farsight Security, ARIN AC, support as written. I have Adam Thompson from Merlin, removing 4.2.2 could be premature. I'd rather have a dead section in there than try to recover old text if and when it might be needed again.
May I comment?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, that mindset is the reason why we haven't modified this proposal to eliminate it altogether. And the question was raised as a would there be support for a future proposal to remove it after this proposal is adopted?
Okay, thank you. Did we lose a question there, I thought?
Yes, I was getting an affiliation and I was going to get back to it. Yes.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No problem. So I have Brian Jones. I'm sorry, I don't have an affiliation. Support as written. Joe Provo, ARIN AC, Google, support as written.
Flying in furiously now.
Yes. Andrew Dull, ARIN AC, shepherd for this proposal. Note to Kevin Bloomberg, I believe the initial allocation size for transfers is controlled by 8.5.4.
Thank you, Andrew.
I have a support as written. I'm sorry.
Keep going. Sorry. No, just keep going. Sorry.
Yep. Celeste Anderson, Pacific Wave, support as written. And Donnie Lewis, Obsidian Group, and I just lost your question. Here it is. Nope. I'm sorry. Mr. Lewis, can you retype your question? I'm sorry, it disappeared for a second.
I can actually read the question if you'd like. Donnie Lewis asked, what is the formal definition of an ISP versus a service provider?
Thank you, sir.
I think he means ISP versus end user from the ARIN perspective. I could be wrong, but I'll let John tackle it.
So in the number resource policy manual, we have definitions that handle these cases. And to be clear, a service provider is an ISP, is what's also called a local internet registry. For us, it's all the same. If you primarily assign address space to users, we consider you a service provider, ISP, or an LIR. If you don't, you're an end user.
Okay. We'll give another 15 seconds for people who want to get into the queue here in either way. And if there is not, we will go to our poll on this, and that's actually going to bring us to the end of our policy block for today. Okay, that closes the queues. Thanks, Chris Woodfield, for the presentation. And we will now go to our last poll of the day. So same as before on the issue of ARIN 2019. Oh, we have a late question. And I'm going to allow just because, you know, first day. So I'll just, Rusty Bright asked, so this applies to end users or ISPs? Chris, did you want to address that or?
Sorry, repeat. Applies to this. Well, the 422 covers ISPs. Initial allocation to ISPs, I believe.
Okay, so it applies to ISPs.
Right. Yes, ISPs.
Okay. Thank you for that. So I appreciate that. So we will now go back to our polling. And my apologies to our poller. On the question of recommended draft policy, ARIN 2019-20, harmonization of maximum allocation requirements under section 4.18 and 4.22. Please answer either in the Zoom poll as either in favor or against, or please use the Q&A if you are unable. And we will give it 30 seconds. Okay, last call. And that closes off our poll. And I'll ask Beverly when she's ready to address.
At the close of the poll, we had 111 attendees, which included 49 in favor and 2 against.
Okay. That feedback will be provided to the AC for their consideration. That closes off our policy block for this meeting. We have a few staff reports today, and we'll have some board and community reports tomorrow. So I will turn it over to John Sweeting to give the Internet routing registry update.